Hello and all, welcome to a Galaxy Man Show interview show. For my very first guest of today is this incredible singer and songwriter known by the name of Allie LaRoe. So I'm about to add Allie into the live now to have a chat with Allie about her incredible music that she's done. So yeah, let's add Allie in and have a chat with Allie.
Hello.
Hi Allie, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, really good, thanks. I just want to say first up, thank you for making the time to come onto my show. It's such a pleasure having you on today. So, to people that don't know who you are, if you can give a bit of backstory about who you are and what you do, and then we'll dive right into the questions.
Cool. Yeah. So I am a Seattle-based artist. I have a band or musician, I should say. I have a band named The Feral Folk, which is the primary way that I release my music now. But I used to also go under the stage name Abby Grace. So there's a whole bunch of solo music under that as well. And I've been writing songs most of my life and have been um, pretty serious about making that my career for the last 13 or 14 years or so.
Awesome. So we'll dive right into the very first question. So for my very first question, so you have created this incredible EP song called Sharp Teeth. What
Mhm.
was that whole experience like getting to create Sharp Teeth?
Well, initially, I really just wanted to kind of make a sort of sexy rock song. But nothing I do, I never seem to be satisfied with just like the surface level. And so it really turned into a song about like um, embracing the challenges and embracing the more painful parts of life and kind of integrating those into just being more of myself. So the initial idea was, oh, this will just be kind of like a spicy rock song about like questionable love. And then it totally turned into something completely different, which, yeah.
Awesome. Well, can I just say, I actually loved hearing Sharp Teeth. I actually listened to it this week before doing an interview with you, and I was like, wow, this song actually blew my mind, and I actually really enjoyed it. So you did a really incredible job with doing Sharp Teeth.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
I'm glad.
very welcome. So on to my very next question. So you have actually created this other incredible song called Loft in Seattle.
Mhm.
What was that whole experience like creating this song, and what's the meaning behind this song?
I wrote Locked in Seattle when I was really young, before I moved to Seattle. And I kind of had this ideal future. And I think it's important to kind of clarify that I've always been really independent, really artistic, and there weren't a lot of women around me in my community that I saw being that. And so I kind of had to create the fantasy for myself of what I wanted, and that's part of what that song was about, was imagining a future um, in which I could be myself and be creative and be happy. And it's interesting because that vision for me has changed, as it does for all of us as we grow up, right? We don't want the same things for ourselves as we want when we're 17. Um, but I still perform it. I connect to it because I still feel like it's so important to have a vision of where you want to kind of move yourself, right? It's so important to have a vision of what happiness means to you, even though the specifics of that may change over time.
So on to my very next question. So you have actually created another incredible song called Diamonds.
Mhm.
What was that whole experience like getting to create the song Diamonds?
So I created a challenge for myself a few years ago where I wanted to write like 5 songs before Valentine's Day. And part of it is because of just being really dissatisfied with, um, I guess, the popular kind of love songs. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just like popular music because it's meant to appeal to as many people as possible, right? It's kind of limited in um, how deep it's willing to go, or what it's willing to explore. And it's so much easier when you're an independent artist and you're just really creating for your audience to be able to ask different questions and create different songs. So Diamonds was really about the industry of romance, specifically around Valentine's Day, and how so much of that, again, specifically for, you know, independent, creative, um, feminine people, it's about saying, well, you're not good enough and you have to learn how to like appease this person. It's your job to keep them, and it's your job to have this status of being coupled, you know. And so that's really where Diamonds came from, is wanting to say, like, I don't need that. I don't need to play by your rules. I don't need to be the type of person that you see as correctly feminine, you know. I get to just define again what that happiness is for myself.
Awesome. So on to our very next question. So who inspired you as a person to get into like singing in the first place?
I grew up singing. My parents were both ministers for my youth, for the youthful part of my life. And so my dad was playing guitar, and I learned how to sing in the choir. And so there wasn't like a pivotal point. But as far as pop music goes, that was definitely Stevie Nicks. It was when I remember it distinctly. You know, it was when Fleetwood Mac had that special, I think, The Dance. And so my like, oh, come, you need to watch this. And I have a lower voice for a woman. And so and I was kind of discouraged because, again, most of the singing that I was doing was in choirs, which meant that I was always doing harmony parts. I wasn't really ever getting to do the melody. And so my mom kind of like brought me down to watch TV and the aesthetics, and her voice was low, like even lower than mine is. And it just like really, really made me be like, oh, I want to do that, you know, like me and probably hundreds of thousands of other women, but still.
Awesome. So on to our very next question. So what does performing music mean to you, like especially as an artist?
I guess there's a couple of things that I really think about. And the first is I really like making music that gives people space to be kind of messy. I'm really inspired by the blues. The blues were really influential on my music career, not because of and not like more contemporary blues, but like classic blues, like the original blues, and especially blues women singers, because there was this ability to name what was messed up about life, what was messed up about their experience, especially because when you're thinking about the original blues, it's like 1930s and it's Black women, you know, not having the best time here in America. But being able to like name that and also still take pleasure in life. And I think that's so powerful. And so even though I'm in a different genre, I still try to bring that energy into music that I create, to be able to be present with how imperfect and messed up things are, and also be hopeful and have a vision, and to also be able to just like enjoy the present, because that's all. It's all we have, and as long as you're alive, you might as well enjoy the experience as much as you can. The other part of it is I think that it's scarier for people than I think we often recognize, to choose the insecurity of the future as opposed to holding on to what we know, even though what we know can be soul crushing. And so I like to use my music as best as I can to help people kind of navigate that fear of the unknown, because it's important to be able to kind of point ourselves away from what we do know, because again, what we do know isn't working, so that we can take the leap both in our personal lives, but also societally, towards something that's going to serve us a lot better.
Awesome. So on to the very next question. So if you could work with like any top 3 music artists in the industry, who would they be and why?
I feel like at this point, I don't even follow like the industry, you know? And I'd really want to be like, if I could just be thrown into a room with like all of the top creators and then just like figure out who I would jive with, that would be my preferred way to do it. Because you just never know who that might be. And it could be somebody who's not in my genre. It could be somebody who I would never imagine would even want to work with me, you know? But like 3 artists that are, I think, all independent, but that I'm super, super into right now are Arlo Parks. I think their music's genius. Lady Moon and the Eclipse has this really fun, like, personal development theme for, I think, their most recent album. And then Lowen, Lowen, really love the passion of their sound. So
Awesome. So on to the very next question. So what have you learned about yourself, like as a person, especially during COVID? Because it's like been such a hard time for artists, like especially during COVID.
mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I feel like I learned that I'm the type of person that steps up to a challenge, which I already kind of knew, but it's nice to have it confirmed, especially in these circumstances. At first, it was just so hard to, it felt personal, even though I knew it wasn't, because I had just been to like this place of a new level of career success. And so to have everything shut down, to not be able to perform, to not be able to reach that success, even though it was an international crisis, just felt like the universe in particular was like, nope, not you. You don't get it. And so I guess I'm really proud of myself for being able to get out of that headspace and to be like, well, I'm just going to learn how to do live streams as best as I can and put on the highest quality live stream that I can and connect with my fans more and learn how to do marketing and promotion a little bit better and to just try to make the most of it. And I mean, I guess the hardest thing is it's really forced me to put out things before I'm ready. Not so much music, but like vlogs. We do a lot of vlogs. Or not a lot of vlogs, but we've done some vlogs. And I don't know anything about video editing. I don't know anything about storytelling. And I'm trying to learn as I go and put it out. And so it's really stressful. And it's kind of forced me to be even more vulnerable than I really am comfortable with my fans. But people have been really nice so far. So that's awesome.
So on to the very next question. So what are like the positive and negatives into the whole music industry, and how do you get through those negatives as a person?
Well, the positives is when you develop a platform, you really do have to change people's lives. And it can be a really like powerful form of feeling because you're not telling people what to do, you're giving them kind of a tool to feel differently and to hopefully from that place of feeling differently to kind of experience it, you know? So that's really cool. That's really what I love about it. The downsides of it is there's a lot of gatekeepers. It can be incredibly cliquish. It can be, you have to deal with a lot of rejection. And if you don't have a strong personality or a really strong sense of like worthiness, it can be really, really hard to just deal with people who know to you all the time. And I mean, there's like a toxic competitiveness that kind of comes with that sometimes too, where it's like somebody says no to you and then you hear the person they say yes to and you're like, why? You know, you start comparing in this really negative way. So even that is in a lot of ways kind of a gift though, because it really forces you to like, you become really conscious of your insecurity. And you kind of have this choice of like, am I going to stay insecure or am I going to use this awareness of my insecurities and heal that, you know?
Awesome. So on to our very last question. So what's like next for you for the rest of 2021 for like music wise?
Well, we're working on recording new songs and re-recording our first album. So our first album is great. It's just that we've evolved so much as a band that we were like, well, we really want to capture how these songs have evolved since this first thing that we put out, you know? And then we're also recording this album, which I've entitled Holy Howl, which is much more like just about processing all of the feelings that keep coming up in a lot of different ways, whether that's through political disillusionment or feeling called to a different way of experiencing reality, and just also the basics. I love a good love song, and there's always love songs on our album, you know.
Yes.
But also, I've been doing these like mostly weekly live streams on my Facebook page and YouTube and on Twitch that I'm hoping to expand even more, because it's so much fun to have people to talk to, and to be able to share music as it's like being written in my notebook. So many songs I've shared before they're even finished. Like here's where we're at now, on those. So definitely focusing on those, and also just like trying to get my music into as many ears as I can, as always.
Awesome. Well, can I just say thank you so much. Would you like to perform one of your songs on the show, by the way?
Yeah, let me try to set you on something here so you can see me well perform. Because this is the lives are a little harder because the screen.
Yes.
So there we go. Do a quick tune. Too bad that money couldn't buy you talent. Spend it like water, but all you own is equipment. Run, run, run from your fear of inadequacy. Run, 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 but you can't escape me. My tongue is a sigh, and I come for your pride. Your ego is mine. Like your girls are, they'll put up with your bullshit. Oh, well, wrong, but now we're rising up to it. Run, 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 cause the witch is after you. Run, 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 the allegations are true. And my tongue is a sigh, and I come to your pride. Your ego, mine, crush us, burn us, beat us, we always back in the end. You can't keep us quiet and lose us, be cruel to break down our confidence, but it never sticks, does it? All of this sincerity must be making you nervous, but the 90s ended all that angry girl music. Run, 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 let your irony won't save you, boy. Run, run, run from the sound of my voice. My tongue is a sigh, and I come for your pride. Your ego is mine. My tongue is tied, and I come for your pride. Your ego is mine.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Loved it. Well, can I just say thank you so much, Ali, for taking the time to come onto my show. It's been such a pleasure having you on. Do you have like any last final thoughts that you'd like to say to people on the show?
A lot of the songs that we talked about today, you can actually get a free download of. If you go to my profile, there's a link in the profile. You can join the Feral Fam, and that will give you like a free EP of all of my favorite songs that we've released so far. And a little bit more information about the band. Like there's a story with each song, and you get to be kind of introduced to our background a little bit more. So
Awesome.